1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey everybody, Jeff Schneider here, and today we're going to learn a very cool diminished lick that works over a dominant 7th chord, nice and slow. And I actually added an extra note there at the end there. I went to a B flat right on that G minor 7 just to resolve the lick. But what I want to do is break this down so it's easier for you to learn because it's a lot of notes. And I said before, it's a diminished lick and there's not a diminished chord in this little progression here. So you might be wondering what's going on. Well, we're actually using a diminished scale on top of this progression. We're using the D half whole diminished scale. And there's some really cool patterns within that scale, which I'll show you in a second. But first, let's write out the scale. So if we have a D7 chord, the half whole diminished scale is as follows. We start on a D, and then we're gonna go up a half step. That's why it's called half whole, because we go half step first. So D up to E flat, then a whole step up to F, then a half step, F sharp, a whole step, A flat, a half step A, a whole step B, and then a half step C. If you go another whole step, you get to the D again. So we don't need to put that in there. So here's what it sounds like. I'll play it up and down over the D7. Now, I don't recommend that during your solos you play your scales up and down like that because it's gonna sound like you're practicing your scales on stage, which in my opinion is not the best sound. So instead, you wanna find a line or a lick, whatever you wanna call it, that uses the scale to create something that actually sounds good. And to do that today, we're gonna find a really cool pattern within this scale. And that pattern is based on a few notes here. The first few notes that we're gonna focus on are D, F, and A. Now, what chord does that give you? That gives you a D minor triad. So we're gonna write D, F, and A here. And then we can also box off some other notes. What if we box off F, A flat, and C? Well, that gives us another minor triad. This time it's gonna be F minor triad. Let's do it like this, F, A flat, C. And there's actually 2 more minor triads within this scale. All we're gonna do is keep transposing up minor thirds. So we did D minor, we did F minor. A minor third up from F is A flat. It's right there actually. So A flat, B, technically it's C flat, but let's just use B for now because that's how I wrote the scale. And then the last one is going to be B. So B, D, and F sharp. All 4 of these minor triads are in the scale. They're all in there. And that is what, I'm gonna clear this all out. That is what's going on in this lick right here. If you look close, F, D, A, that's the D minor triad going down in second inversion. So if I play that chord, well, a regular D minor chord would look like this. That's D, F, A. So we're gonna go down F, D, A, and then we do the same thing down a minor third, except this time it's gonna be on that B minor triad. So I'll write those in. I think that'll be helpful. So we've got D minor, B minor, A flat minor, and F minor. D minor, B minor, A flat minor, F minor. They're all in second inversion going from top to bottom. Second inversion is where the 5th, that A right there, the 5th is in the bottom voice. For B minor, F sharp is the 5th, that's in the bottom voice. And it's probably even more useful to think about what the first note in the arpeggio is, and that is the minor third. So for D minor, you see we have that F right there. That's the 3rd of D minor. And then for B minor, what's the 3rd of B minor? It's D. And what's the 3rd of A flat minor? It's B. And what's the 3rd of F minor? It's A flat. And another hack you can use to help you get into this lick more easily is to think about what's the chord. It's a D7, and then all you have to do is make that D7 chord a D minor chord and you're off and running. Another way to think about it is starting on the sharp 9 of the chord you're on. So if we're on a D7 chord, we're going to start on the sharp 9, which is going to set up our D minor arpeggio. That's how you get that sharp 9 right at the top. By the way, you can start this pattern on any of these arpeggios. I just kind of like the way it sounded with the sharp 9 to start, but you can really do whatever you want. Also, I should point out here that, yes, I am ignoring this A minor 7 flat 5. It's pretty common to ignore the 2 chord when you're playing 2/5 licks. You don't always do that, but it's totally cool to just think about the 5 chord for the entire 2/5 progression. So let me play this lick in context. I'll improvise for the first 6 measures, and then I'll go into the lick and get us into the G minor 7. So it's going to sound something like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there you go, that's the lick. And I also snuck in a lick that I mentioned in a previous video, which I also encourage you to learn. It's this one right here. So check that out, linked on the screen. Also on the screen is a link to my Sick Licks collection, which is all of my favorite 2/5-1 licks for classic jazz, modern jazz, blues, and I break them up into easy and intermediate advanced licks. And you can check that out, linked on the screen and in the description below. So we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye-bye.